Okay. All right. What are you doing? Okay.
Okay.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And today we've got something really special in store for you, the viewer. For those of you that are familiar with hand tools, you may or may not recognize this bad boy here. This is the Stanley Bedrock 608. And many people in the woodworking community and also on YouTube have affectionately called this large plane the mother of all hand tools, and for good reason. It's a legendary plane that's not only known for its size, but also for its incredible build quality. And as you can see here, it has seen better days. But we are going to change that, and because today we're going to restore this large hand plane and bring it back to its former glory. And also, my youngest daughter here, who's kind of being very shy right now, is taking an interest into woodworking and has asked me if I could restore a hand plane for her. So I'm also going to be restoring this little block plane and kind of showing her how to use it and getting her started working with hand tools. And she's also going to be helping me with restoring this as well. So anyway, with that being said, if you're ready for a really awesome transformation, I suggest that you stick around. And with that being said, let's get started. Ready?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I've had this Stanley Bedrock 608 sitting on the shelf for a long time, and I have subconsciously been holding off on this restoration, waiting for the right time to do it. So one day my daughter came up to me and asked if I could restore a small hand plane for her. So I figured restoring both of these hand planes would be a great project, as well as allow me to spend some quality time with my youngest daughter. Before we break these down, we are going to need proof. So we took some close-up shots of both planes, showing the pitted surfaces and all the built-up grime. Without a solid before shot to compare it to, the after won't mean nearly as much. Alright, the first step in any good restoration is to tear down. We need to completely disassemble the planes to assess the damage and prepare them for much needed makeovers. You can see here just how much rust and grime has built up over the years. These planes have definitely put in their time. We'll be careful organizing the parts to make sure everything goes back together smoothly. Now that everything's apart, it's time for the dirty work: cleaning and rust removal. For the smaller parts, I'll be using Evaporust. Now that everything has been degreased and dried off with shop air, I can get a better look at the plane body and the frog to make sure there are no cracks. And after looking everything over, I would say this plane has good bones. I don't see any cracks in the plane body, the frog, or the lever cap, which makes my job a whole lot easier. The next step is to take all of the parts and soak them in my homemade Evaporust tub. The Evaporust does a really good job of removing years of caked on rust and corrosion. Once the parts come out of the Evaporust, they go straight into a water bath. The water stops the chemical reaction and clears off the residue. The casting is going to be the biggest challenge. In order to refinish the plane body, we need to have a clean bare metal surface. And for this, I'm going to use some off-camera magic. Here I'm using a brass wire wheel to clean up any loose rust that was left over from the Evaporust. Okay, now it's time to start polishing. I'm going to start with the plain body first, using some 150 grit sandpaper and work my way all the way up to 300 grit sandpaper. By the way, this is a very dirty job and I highly encourage you to wear some gloves. As soon as I finished sanding the sides of the plane body, I took the plane over to my table saw and I lapped the bottom of it. However, I forgot to record that footage, so unfortunately I do not have any footage of me flattening the sole of the plane and also the frog. So after an hour or so and a whole lot of black compound, I was finally able to get the plain body nice and polished, and it definitely looks a whole lot better. Now that the plain body is taken care of, I'm going to repeat the same steps for the chip breaker, the lever cap, and the plane iron. And in order to keep this video as short as possible, I'm going to once again use some off-camera magic. Now that, folks, is a transformation. I would say that the buffing wheel is basically a time machine for metal parts. The luster on this lever cap is incredible. It went from looking like a lake find to looking like it just rolled off the assembly line. Now that the plane iron, the chip breaker, and the lever cap have been polished, I'm going to focus my attention on the smaller parts and get those polished and cleaned up as well. After spending a lot of time on the Bedrock plane, I took the small block plane and dressed the parts with the wire wheel, and then proceeded to polish them with the buffing wheel. After spending a couple of hours cleaning and polishing parts, I looked around the shop and noticed that my young assistant had disappeared on me. So I went looking through the house, and surprisingly enough, I found her in the bedroom playing hide and go seek. Hey, I thought you were going to help me. You said you wanted some help with this hand plane of yours, or you want me to do it, and I thought you were going to help me. What are you doing? Huh? What are you doing?
Squishy?
Are you hiding? All right, are you going to help me?
No.
No, of course not. All right, that's what I thought. How much money are you going to make?
I want to make.
You want to make money?
I want to make money out of this.
Oh, of course you do. All right. All right. Well, hey, if you want to make money, you got to work for it. This isn't a handout program. You're gonna. All right. Kids, you just gotta love them. So what are you doing? Now that the small parts are cleaned and polished, I'm going to give the casting and the frog one last degreasing before heading over to the NASA-approved high-tech paint booth. The casting, the frog, and the little block plane are now ready for the high-tech paint booth. And here is the NASA-approved high-tech paint booth. I'm giving everything a good coat of black primer, and then I'm going to follow up with my favorite black enamel paint. The horn on the tote is broken off, and I could very easily replace this with an identical tote from another hand plane, but that's not what I'm about, and it's definitely not what this channel is about either. So I'm going to repair this in a similar fashion like I did in a previous video. To repair the horn on the tote, I'm going to use a piece of rosewood and try to closely match the wood grain. I'm using some electrical tape to act as a temporary clamp to help hold us in place while the glue dries. You just gotta love that off-camera magic. I think the horn came out looking pretty good. To repair the chips in the front knob, I'm going to use a matching DIY wood filler. To do this, I laid a piece of paper down to collect as much of the sawdust as I possibly could. Then I started sanding with 120 grit sandpaper and finished sanding with 220 grit sandpaper. Next, I took the sawdust and dumped it into a plastic container, and with a little wood glue, I mixed it up to make a rosewood colored paste. After applying the DIY wood filler to the knob, I allowed it to dry and sanded it with 220 grit sandpaper. The results were a lot better than expected. Okay, now onto the finish. At first I was going to use a 50-50 mixture of shellac mixed with denatured alcohol, but I ran out of denatured alcohol. So instead I'm going to use polyurethane and do a light sanding in between coats and buff it out to a nice shine. Looking pretty good, I must say. Not too bad. Okay, now for the very last part of the restoration, and that is to sharpen the plane irons. To do this, I'm going to be using my Tormek T8 black and a very fine diamond stone.
Partly cloudy.
Okay, on the little block plane, I'm only going to sharpen the plane iron to 600 grit. I'm not going to put a razor sharp edge on it because I don't want my younger daughter, to get hurt. Okay, now that the plane irons are sharpened, it's time to put the planes back together and give them a test drive. But before we do that, let's take one last look at all the parts now that they are cleaned up and polished. Overall, I am very pleased with how this turned out. The high-tech paint booth delivered a flawless finish, and all of our polished parts are laid out and ready for the home stretch. It's time for one last piece of off-camera magic to bring this legend back together. And there she is, back from the dead. This old Stanley Bedrock 608 went from a 15-pound rusty anchor to a masterpiece. The adjustments are butter smooth, the luster is incredible, and it finally looks like the mother of all hand tools again. Let's take a quick look at some amazing before and after photos of the hand plane. Alright guys, now that we've got both planes cleaned and restored and they are fully reassembled, it's time to go ahead and give both planes a test drive. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you don't mind, go ahead and subscribe and hit that like button, and we will catch you on the next video. Ain't that right, Miss Giggles? Alright guys, we'll catch you later. Like I said, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Bye. Alright, what you're gonna do, listen, take your hand like this. Don't put your fingers down there, okay? It's sharp, alright? Alright, ready? Alright, ready? Alright, hold on a minute. Hold on, you can stop. Alright, hold on, Elizabeth. Hold on, alright, ready? Alright, now, go ahead and push. Alright, you got it? This is just, okay. Let's try it again. You gotta hold it like this, watch. Okay. Just light pressure. Okay, hold on. Alright. No, it's not. Okay, hold on. Okay, you gotta go like this, watch. Alright, try it. And then you want to try the big plane?
No, that one.
Alright. You need some practice. Alright, let me try the big plane. Alright, Lizzie, you want to try the big one?
Sure.
Alright. Alright, Lizzie, come over here. Alright, okay, let me show you something. Okay, now. Alright, hold on a minute. Okay, grab your hand. Okay, grab your hand right there. Alright, grab your hand. And now, you gotta push down. Alright, ready? Alright, here we go. Alright, there you go. A little bit of shaking there. Alright, let's back it up. Come over here a little bit. Okay. There you go. You got it. Look at that. Look at that. All right, try it again. Look at that. All right, Elizabeth. You're going to become a woodworker just...
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
Not one bit.
Oh, yes you are.
I feel like I did a good job.
What? All right, that's good.
I rather
Stop it.